going down a bit of a rabbit hole with this drone synth, something I never expected to like or care about at all. Allow me to bring you all down the rabbit hole of this madness I've been descending into with this synth. Now, if this kind of gear usually isn't for you, please stick with me because I thought the same. So this is a drone synth. It's got two oscillators. You're hearing one of them now. Literally just a drone, a never-ending note. With a filter, I can change the level. There's a second drone, second oscillator, which we can layer on top. We have to use this pitch knob. And try to get that right interval, super precise. We've got the Ultra LFO, basically these wave shapes that we can send to the individual drones. And they can take all kinds of forms. So let's speed up the rate of these LFOs and we'll get some movement in our sound. Turn up the delay a bit so you can hear it some more. So you're hearing this, right? And it's like, okay, like we can change the type of wave for each synth. That'll vary the sound. And we can even like blend these individual oscillators with a sub frequency. But how do we turn this into music? And that is the journey that I've been on. If you notice, there's like these patch points in here, which I'm not too familiar with, but I know if we patch the wave to this shape, we can send this shape to, say, the pitch of one of these drones. And then if we listen to just this drone, we'll hear that. Not particularly musical. Let's turn that drone down. Let's put the wave 2 over to drone 2's pitch. Again, not super musical. Very much like we're in a laser duel at the moment. So of course, my next thought was, what do I do with this? And whenever that thought comes to mind, I sort of always bring in the hologram Microcosm pedal, because this pedal can basically turn anything to a big, lush, beautiful ambient something. All right, here we go. Drone plus Microcosm. This is the haze preset on the Microcosm, which it tends to be my favorite. If I reduce this sub oscillator. Suddenly, you know, the Microcosm is like cheating because it's adding these beautiful granular stuff. It's just like, it's floating now. If we reduce the rate of this LFO, we can get maybe a slower. And I can turn off the reverb on the drone synth because we're getting some from the Microcosm. Patching in some pulse width modulation. It's going to give us an overall wider sound on each of these drones. And this is where a little bit of the trance begins, because I just slowly start tweaking things like the cutoff filter or just the levels of the drones in general. Maybe the wave type changes. And of course, all of that results in a change in what the Microcosm ends up doing with this sound. Now that's something gentle and pretty pleasant to listen to. I mean, we've pretty much rolled off the filters, but I'm not sure if it goes far enough. I'd like to add 2 more pieces of gear. This is the Akai APC64. Now you might be thinking, what good is an Ableton controller going to do us here? But actually, this controller utilizes a sort of ancient technology known as CV. And there are 8 CV ports on the back of this thing, and we can start to control the pitch of the drones and create actual like melodic sequences. All right, so now what we've got here, just turn up drone 1 here. I can now control the pitch of drone 1. And this other track will control the pitch for drone 2. So in theory, now we have just a much better control, and we can like create some melodies or something. Even better is that this is the step sequencer mode. So let's go ahead and kill the LFO waves and just get straight up oscillator drones, nothing happening. And what you're going to notice about this situation with the drones is that even though I'm going to enter in other notes, and I'm just going to do this kind of at random, and then if I hit play, that sequence will start to play. But you notice the notes never shut off. Usually you combine CV with gate, which kind of controls the on-off of notes, but since it's a drone synth, there's no way to turn notes off. They're just constantly running. So we've got this very simple sequence going. And I'm going to now start utilizing the Ultra LFO again. And now you can see we're actually starting with this kind of musical idea. Now, even better is that I can change the probability of each of these notes, which is going to add just another layer of dynamic to this sequence. So with each note, I'm going to change the probability, and this will just make the sequence a little bit different each time. Even though we're working in a short sequence, it should have a little bit of variation every time it plays through. Great. So let's jump over to that other track and let's do something simple on drone 2. But we're kind of forgetting the most important part that made this the most interesting, which was the microcosm. Now, don't forget, we're running this sequencer at 120 BPM, so I could just lower that sequencer and then our note change will be a little slower, which might be more appropriate for ambient. And we're finding this sweet spot. These kind of splashes of color and tone are coming through. And it's a combination of the sequence playing with each note having sort of a different probability, and also these LFOs running and doing different things, 2 different LFOs affecting the drones in different ways. Making these little micro changes in maybe the filter, even the wave type of the oscillators. It starts to like grow and sprout and bloom like a flower. But I did say this was a rabbit hole. So I have one thing that I want to add to this. Turn this pedal on. It's not doing anything because we haven't adjusted anything yet. But as I slow down the speed, you're going to hear it just like a tape slow down. And now, back through the microcosm. On its own, I really like this. I don't like to play with the speed or any other parameters too much because then you're messing with the pitch in real time and it doesn't sound all that great. But one thing I will show is that this speed dial goes all the way down to 0, like no sound coming out. But then the other half of the dial is actually reverse. Back through the microcosm. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about descending into madness. We end up in a place, I'm not 100% sure how we got here, but it's like a little symphony happening suddenly. The experimental sort of mad scientist feeling of this process surprised me, and I was having a lot more fun than I ever imagined I would. I always thought of this kind of synthesis, a lot of people joke that this is going to be my gateway into modular, but I always sort of wrote off modular as this thing I would never get into. But as I dive deeper into this process, I really feel drawn to this kind of music making, which is completely different than sitting there and writing out a melody, like abstract, I guess is the only way I can describe it, and I really enjoy it. The alchemy of putting all these parts together that I never imagined I would combine, and yet here we are. A drone synth, by the way, that otherwise would just sound like this. This is the drone just on its own. You had a sequence into that picture. Do a little time manipulation and reverse. And then a little magic on top. I've been going through this process of experimentation on our evening live streams on Thursday night. Would love to have you there if you want to join us. Also, during one of those streams, I put together an ambient performance that I didn't expect to happen with this exact setup, and I've now released that on my Bandcamp along with a stretched version. So if you're interested in this kind of droney ambient stuff, I'll link that in the description. for now, that's going to be it. I encourage you to go off and do your own experimentation. Do something you think wouldn't interest you or wouldn't be up your alley. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.